Interesting facts about polar bears. The polar bear is a huge carnivore from the bear family that lives in the icy regions of the Arctic Ocean. This animal is considered the largest species of bear, although Kodiak brown bears living in Alaska are almost as large as polar bears. The name, polar bear, is derived from that of the sea bear because, in addition to spending most of its life in areas near the coast, it is also a skilled swimmer and has been seen in waters that are about 160 kilometers away from the nearest ice or shore. Appearance characteristics of the polar bear. Adult polar bears are usually more than 2 meters tall and weigh about half a ton. The weight of a male polar bear reaches 600 tons, but females are usually lighter and their weight is half that of males. The polar bear is one of the few large mammals that can live in the harsh polar climate, and its body is well adapted to life in the ice. The fur of this animal's body is thick and dense and consists of a warm underlayer and long protective hairs on it. Inside these hairs, there are transparent hollow tubes, where the heat of the sun is trapped and transferred to the black skin of the animal, where it warms his body. The polar bear has a powerful and muscular body, with wide front paws that help it swim. The fur under the feet of this animal not only warms its body but also causes the feet to adhere to the ground, which makes walking on icy surfaces easier. The neck of the polar bear is much longer compared to other bear species, and it makes its head stay above the water while swimming. Its snout is longer than other bears, and its ears are smaller. Behavioral characteristics of polar bears. The polar bear is an isolated semi-aquatic animal that has adapted well to life in the poles and on the ice. In addition to being able to run on land at a high speed of about 40 km per hour, this animal also has a high speed in swimming and is able to swim at a speed of 9.5 km per hour, and this characteristic makes him a predator at the top of the food chain. The environment has changed. Polar bears can dive into the water to catch prey. At this moment, they keep their eyes open and hold their breath for up to 2 minutes. This animal works in 2 ways to hunt on land, either by ambushing and chasing the prey, or by waiting for hours by the ice hole for the jaws to come out. The jaw is one of the main food sources of the polar bear, which provides a high-energy meal. Polar bear habitat. Polar bears live on the ice banks that surround the North Pole to the south of Hudson Bay. About 60% of polar bears live in northern Canada, and the rest are found throughout Greenland, Alaska, Svalbard, and Russia. They can be seen very close to the ocean, roaming vast areas of ice. Currently, the polar bear population in its natural habitats has decreased drastically, and the biggest reason for this is global warming. Although this carnivore is used to seasonal changes in the Arctic, the melting of the ice in the summer starts earlier and more intensively every year, which has caused the polar bears to have less time to hunt on the ice. On the other hand, some habitats of this animal have been severely encroached upon by humans, and factors such as hunting by humans, the release of chemical pollutants in water, and drilling for oil and gas extraction have put this species of animal in danger of extinction. Polar bear food. The polar bear is the largest land carnivorous mammal and must hunt regularly to ensure adequate nutrition and to maintain the insulating layer of body fat that is vital to keeping it warm. This animal searches for food either in the ice or in the water, and sometimes it travels long distances in the ocean to find food. The skin and fat of the ringed jaw make up the major part of the diet of polar bears. This animal usually leaves the remaining meat of the jaw, which is considered an important food source for other animals, including Arctic foxes. In addition to their jaws, polar bears may also feed on birds, berries, fish, reindeer, especially in the harsh summer months, and sometimes porpoises. The carcasses of large marine mammals, such as whales, dolphins, and porpoises, are considered a source of food for polar bears. And this animal with its strong sense of smell can detect their smell from far distances. In addition, the polar bear sometimes attacks the underground pits of the jaws and hunts their children. Enemy of the polar bear. Since the polar bear is a huge and wild predator, no animal in its surroundings is able to hunt it. Polar bears may hunt each other, and female bears always try to protect their cubs from other male bears. However, the biggest threat to the polar bear population is humans, who have hunted large numbers of polar bears in the region since their arrival in the Arctic Ocean in the 1600s until the mid-1970s, when international hunting bans were imposed. In addition, as previously mentioned, the reduction of ice areas due to climate change, oil and gas drilling, increased activities related to transportation, and increased levels of industrial chemicals that have polluted the waters all contribute to the reduction of the population of this region. Animals have played a role. Apart from these, the polar bear has a relatively low reproduction rate, which has made its population more vulnerable, to the point where some experts have predicted that this animal may become extinct in the next 30 years. The birth of the polar bear usually gives birth in the spring, and its pregnancy period is at most 9 months. After the pregnancy period, the female bear gives birth to between 1 and 4 cubs in a nest that she has dug in the snow or ground. Babies weigh a little over half a kilo at birth and are hairless and blind. The mother bear goes to her winter pit with her cubs at the end of the autumn and stays there until the end of the winter season. Children usually start eating solid food at about 5 months of age but are weaned at the age of 2 or 3. They often play with their siblings and may even bite or chase each other without harming each other. Playing is very important for polar bear cubs so that they can learn how to fight and protect themselves from danger after leaving their mother alone. The lifespan of a polar bear can live up to 30 years in the wild, but in reality, this rarely happens, and usually polar bears live less than 25 years. The danger of polar bear extinction. The polar bear is currently recognized as a vulnerable species in its natural environment. Although international hunting bans have largely prevented the hunting of this animal, various factors have caused the polar bear population near the North Pole to decrease to 20,000 to 25,000 bears, most of which live in northern Canada. Interesting facts about polar bears. The pits that female polar bears dig to spend the winter are 40 degrees warmer than the outside environment. However, male bears do not like to rest in this den and prefer to be active all year round. Polar bears have a layer of fat under their skin that is 10 centimeters thick. This layer warms the animal's body so much that the polar bear moves slowly to avoid overheating. The polar bear's body fur sheds in the summer, and at the beginning of autumn it is in its whitest possible state, but in the spring it often looks yellow. One of the reasons for this problem is probably the oil in the skin of the jaw. The skin of the polar bear is black, and although its fur looks white, it is actually transparent. A polar bear has 42 teeth. This animal can detect the smell of its prey from a distance of 16 kilometers.